So we're going to be talking about solving one-step equations, and kind of our goal for solving one-step equations is that we need to isolate the variable. And what that means is that you're going to be getting the variable by itself. So such as like y equals a number or like x equals a number. And for us to isolate the variable, you have to use inverse operations. And that means that if a variable is being added by a number, you want to get rid of it by subtraction. And if a variable is being subtracted by a number, you would want to use addition. Now, that applies for multiplication. You would want to use division to get that variable by itself. And division, you want to use multiplication to get the variable by itself or isolate the variable. Now, each equation needs to be balanced, so what you do to one side, you must always do it to the other side. Now, we're going to look at the first one, which is y plus 6. And what you're going to do is we want to get this variable by itself. Okay, so I always circle that y to like identify that I need to get that variable by itself. So now I'm going to take, using my inverse operation, I'm going to look and say, okay, how can I get this variable by itself? So I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. Okay, so then I'm going to bring down this y. So what I do to one side, I always do to the other. So then I'm going to take y. The 6's cancel because 6 minus 6 is going to be 0. Then I have 9 minus 6, which is going to get me 3. Okay, I'm going to circle my answer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see, am I correct? And how you do that is you're going to take your answer. You're going to substitute it into the equation. So let's rewrite my equation. So I have y plus 6 equals 9. I'm going to take that and I'm going to substitute my answer in for y. So I have 3 plus 6 is going to give me 9. So 3 plus 6 is 9. 9 equals 9. So it is correct. Now, if I was dealing with this type of problem where I have the variable x minus 14 equals 20, I'm going to make sure I have that variable. I'm going to circle it because that's what I want to try to get rid of. Okay. I'm going to look at the operation that's happening. So it's x minus 14 equals 20. Now, how I want to get rid of or get the variable by itself is I'm going to add 14 to both sides because addition is the inverse operation of subtraction. So now I'm going to be left with, I have x. These are going to cancel. So I have equals, so I'm going to do 20 plus 14, which is going to give me 34. I'm going to circle my final answer. And then I'm going to check to see, am I correct? So I'm going to rewrite my equation, x minus 14, or my formula. I'm going to substitute 34 in. Minus 14 is equal to 20. 34 minus 14 is 20 equals 20. So I am correct. So x equals 34. Now, if you notice this next one, if a number is next to a variable, it is multiplication. So we know that multiplication, the inverse operation is division. So what you're going to do is you're going to divide. To get rid of multiplication, you're going to use the inverse operation of division. You're going to divide both sides. You're going to divide by -8. Divide by -8. So because it was multiplication and it's the inverse operation, this is now going to become g equals, you're going to do 24 divided by -8, which is -3. We're going to circle our answer. And then before we're done, we're going to check to see, am I correct? I'm going to rewrite my formula. So I have -8g equals 24. I'm going to substitute in g for -3 equal to 24. -8 times -3 gives me 24. So 24 is equal to 24. So it is correct. Now this last one, you have 2/3 j equals 8. Now, because this is a fraction, you're going to be dividing. Now, it looks like it's multiplication, okay, because it's like right next to, but because it says a fraction, you want to make sure you always multiply. And how you get rid of a fraction is that you're going to use the reciprocal, which means you're going to flip the numerator and the denominator. So because it's division, we're now going to multiply. So you're going to flip the numerator and denominator. So what you do to one side, you always do to the other. Okay? These are going to cancel because 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. Cancels. So we're left with j. Now, what happens is this becomes 8 because it's 8 over 1. 8 times 3 is 24. Divided by 2. So you're going to be left with 12. Okay? So, I'm going to now check my answer. So I'm going to take my original formula, 2/3. I'm going to substitute that 12 in for j equals 8. 2 times 12 is 24. Divided by 3, that's going to give me 8 equals 8. And I can check that off. Now, my last one, I'm going to show you one more because division is kind of the hardest one. Last problem that we're going to do is m over 6 equals 5. Okay. Now, you notice that this is division. This is another type of division problem. To get rid of division, the inverse operation, you're going to be multiplying by 6 over 1, because this is saying 1, because there's an imaginary 1 in front of the m. Okay, so 1 times 6, you do the reciprocal, 6 over 1. What you do to one side, you always do to the other. Okay, so then this will cancel out my m's. I'll be left with 5 times 6, which is going to give me 30. I'm going to check to see if I'm right. So I'm going to substitute 30 in on top. Divided by 6, because 30 is going in for m. Just 30 divided by 6 gives me 5. So 5 equals 5. So I checked and I am correct.